We live in a world overflowing with information. Every day, a new supplement promises to fix your fatigue, rebuild your muscles, or restore your youth. You've still probably heard, take your omega-3s, or you need more protein shakes to recover at night. But let me ask you something. If more supplements were truly the answer, wouldn't we all be radiantly healthy by now? Most people don't suffer from a lack of pills or powders. They suffer from a lack of understanding. Your body is whispering to you every day, but are you listening? You see, the body is not a machine you can simply fuel and forget. It is an intelligent, sacred ecosystem. Every cell in you is listening to the signals you send through your thoughts, your habits, your nutrition, and your love or neglect. Tonight I want to share something profound, yet beautifully simple. Forget the obsession with omega-3 capsules for a moment. Focus instead on two humble, powerful nutrients, magnesium and vitamin D3. When taken with wisdom, especially at night, these two can help your body rebuild muscle, calm the nervous system, restore sleep, and reignite your inner energy, not through force, but through alignment. Let's go deep into understanding how your body heals when you rest, and why these two nutrients combined with awareness and self-discipline can transform not just your muscles, but your life. Magnesium. It's one of those quiet miracles that most people never think about. We talk about calcium, iron, vitamin C, but magnesium, it's almost forgotten, and yet every heartbeat, every breath, every thought in your mind relies on it. In fact, over 300 vital reactions in your body cannot happen without magnesium. It's the mineral of life, the silent conductor in the symphony of your physiology. When my patients come to me and say, "Doctor, I feel tired all the time, my muscles ache, I can't sleep, I'm anxious, I'm restless," I often find that they're not lacking motivation or even sleep, they're lacking magnesium, and I smile gently, because this is such a simple fix, but it requires understanding. You see, magnesium doesn't just help the body work, it helps the body rest. It's what allows your muscles to relax after a contraction, your nerves to quiet after a busy day, and your mind to ease into stillness. If calcium is the accelerator, magnesium is the brake pedal. And in our modern world, everyone's driving with their foot on the gas, stress, caffeine, processed food, screens, late nights, but nobody knows how to press the brake. When your magnesium levels fall, your body goes into a constant low-grade state of tension. The muscles tighten, the blood pressure rises, the sleep becomes shallow, and even your heart rhythm can falter. It's as though the strings of a violin have been wound too tight. Eventually, they snap. Now, why are so many people deficient? It's not that we don't eat enough food. It's that we eat the wrong kind. Our soils are depleted. Our vegetables don't have the mineral content they once did. We drink filtered or bottled water that's had all the natural minerals stripped away. Even chronic stress itself burns through magnesium reserves. The more anxious and overworked we become, the faster we lose this precious mineral. It's a cruel cycle. The more magnesium you lose, the more anxious you feel, and the more anxious you feel, the more magnesium you lose. But the body has an incredible capacity to recover when given what it needs. When you take magnesium at night, ideally in a form the body recognizes, such as magnesium glycinate, you're sending a message to your nervous system, it's time to rest. You are safe. The magnesium enters your cells, quiets the electrical chatter, loosens the tight muscles, slows the heart rate, and prepares the mind for deep sleep. I often tell my patients to take between 200 and 400 milligrams about an hour before bed, and not to expect fireworks, because magnesium works in whispers, not in shouts. Over a few days, they begin to notice subtle shifts. Their sleep becomes deeper, the night sweats stop. The racing thoughts at bedtime begin to slow. They wake up not groggy, but peaceful. I like to think of magnesium as nature's evening lullaby. It sings softly to the cells, reminding them that they do not need to fight tonight, they can rebuild instead, and that rebuilding of muscles, of mitochondria, of the very energy factories in your body can only happen in a relaxed state. When I was a medical student, I once observed an elderly man in the ICU. He had been struggling for days with spasms and an irregular heartbeat. His doctors adjusted his medications repeatedly, but nothing seemed to work. Then one day, a senior physician walked in, looked at the chart, and said quietly, "Check his magnesium." Within hours of replenishing it, his heart rhythm stabilized and the spasms ceased. That moment never left me. It taught me that sometimes the most profound healing lies not in adding more, but in restoring what was missing. So when you take magnesium tonight, don't think of it as a supplement. Think of it as a reminder to slow down. As you feel the tension melt from your muscles, allow that to extend to your mind, to your emotions. Let it teach you that stillness is strength. The body does not heal in chaos. It heals in calm. Magnesium is the mineral of relaxation, but it's also the mineral of humility. It reminds us that true power lies in letting go of control, of tension, of worry. Just as the ocean waves retreat to gather their strength, your body too must rest before it can rise. And magnesium is the tide that carries you there. Vitamin D3 is not just a vitamin, it is a messenger of light. Every cell in your body carries a tiny receptor waiting for this signal, as though creation itself placed a doorway for sunlight in your DNA. When that light is missing, the body does not just weaken, it forgets how to thrive. I often tell my patients, you are not merely a body that needs fuel, you are a living organism that needs illumination. We call it the sunshine vitamin, but in truth, it behaves more like a hormone. It tells your cells when to build, when to rest, when to fight inflammation, and when to conserve energy. Without vitamin D3, calcium cannot enter the bones, magnesium cannot function efficiently, and the immune system cannot distinguish friend from foe. It is the conductor of an invisible orchestra, ensuring harmony among all the players. And yet, despite living under the same sky as our ancestors, we are chronically deficient. I see it in blood work every week. People are tired, sore, and depressed, not realizing that their very cells are starving for sunlight. How did we come to this? We built walls, roofs, and routines that separated us from nature. We spend our days indoors, illuminated not by the sun but by artificial screens that trick the brain into thinking it's daylight. We cover ourselves with layers of fabric and sunscreen, good intentions that, when excessive, block the very source of vitality we evolved to depend on. Vitamin D3 is made in your skin when ultraviolet light meets cholesterol. Think about that for a moment. The sun and cholesterol, two things often demonized, working together to give you life. Nature is wiser than our fears. But the body cannot make enough vitamin D3 when sunlight is scarce, when your liver or kidneys are inflamed, or when you live behind glass. When levels fall, the effects ripple everywhere. Muscles weaken, bones ache, energy dips, and mood sinks. Some people call it seasonal depression, but it's really a cry from the body, I need light. Low vitamin D3 can even make it harder for you to build muscle after exercise because the very genes that control protein synthesis depend on it. It is as though the foreman has left the construction site. The workers wait, idle, not knowing what to build. When I tell patients to take vitamin D3, I emphasize that it's not just about strength, it's about communication. It restores the body's ability to coordinate its healing. I recommend 2,000 to 5,000 international units daily for most adults, usually with the evening meal. Vitamin D3 is fat soluble, which means it travels best with a small amount of healthy fat, avocado, olive oil, a handful of nuts. Why in the evening? Because while the sun nourishes us by day, the restoration guided by vitamin D3 happens by night. When you sleep, it helps direct calcium into the bones, regulates the immune system, and calms inflammation. It is like carrying a small portion of sunlight into the darkness, so the body never truly loses sight of the day. Patients sometimes tell me, but doctor, I spend time outside, yet their levels remain low. That's because the process is not just about exposure, it's about conversion, absorption, and utilization. The body is a series of partnerships. Magnesium helps activate vitamin D3, and vitamin D3 helps the body hold on to magnesium. It is a divine reciprocity. One supports the other like two friends carrying a heavy burden together. I remember a patient, a middle-aged woman who complained of chronic fatigue, brain fog, and muscle pain. She was convinced she had an autoimmune disorder. After running tests, her vitamin D3 was nearly undetectable. We replenished it slowly, paired with magnesium, and within months, her vitality returned. She said, "Doctor, it feels like someone turned the lights back on inside me." I smiled because that's exactly what had happened. When you take your vitamin D3 at night, think of it as reconnecting with the sun that gave you life. It's not a pill. It's a practice of remembrance. You're part of nature, and nature heals in cycles of light and dark, activity and rest. Vitamin D3 carries that rhythm into every cell, reminding your body of the dawn even in the middle of night. It teaches you something profound, that light is not something external you must chase. It is something internal. You must nourish. When you align with that truth, fatigue gives way to energy, confusion gives way to clarity, and despair gives way to calm. The sunlight outside and the sunlight within are not separate. They are reflections of the same source. And when that light flows freely again, healing becomes effortless, as natural as the morning itself. When you close your eyes at night, your body doesn't shut down. It awakens to its most sacred work. While you rest, it begins the silent labor of repair and renewal. The very muscles that carried you through the day are now being knit back together. The brain files away memories. Hormones rise and fall like the tides, washing away the debris of the day. Sleep is not a passive state. It is a profound biological ceremony. And magnesium and vitamin D3 are the silent attendants at this sacred event. During the day, you create small amounts of controlled damage. Every step, every workout, every thought, even every emotional stress leaves a trace of wear. These micro tears and stress signals tell the body, we are alive, we are adapting, but adaptation is impossible without recovery. Just as a field must rest after harvest to bear fruit again, your body must retreat into the stillness of night to grow stronger. This is when magnesium and vitamin D3 do their finest work. Magnesium helps calm the nervous system, signaling to your muscles and your mind that the day's labor is complete. Vitamin D3 acts at the genetic level, activating the blueprint for repair. Together, they create the conditions for deep sleep, the kind of sleep that restores, not just sedates. When I speak to patients about sleep, many tell me, "Doctor, I sleep for 7 or 8 hours, but I still wake up tired." The issue is not time, but quality. True rest depends on rhythm, on the body, knowing when it's time to be active and when it's time to surrender. The modern world has confused this rhythm. We eat at all hours, stare at bright screens, long after sunset, fill our minds with endless stimulation. We have forgotten the art of dimming down. The brain interprets light as a signal of daytime, keeping cortisol, the stress hormone, high and melatonin, the sleep hormone, low. So even if you go to bed, your body still thinks it's noon. Magnesium can help counter this by quieting the stress response. And vitamin D3, taken regularly, helps recalibrate the body's internal clock, the circadian rhythm that governs the cycles of day and night. Think of it like a symphony orchestra. Each instrument represents a system in your body, your heart, liver, muscles, hormones, brain. During the day, they all play loudly, busily in the fast tempo of survival. But when night falls, a good conductor lowers the baton and brings the music into harmony. Sleep is that conductor, and magnesium and vitamin D3 tune the instruments before the performance begins. Without them, the music turns into noise. Creating a nightly routine is one of the most healing acts you can perform. Eat your last meal 3 hours before bed. Give your body a chance to finish digesting so it can move on to repairing. Dim the lights, reduce stimulation, and take your magnesium and vitamin D3 together. This small ritual tells your body the day is over. You may begin the restoration. If you listen closely, you'll notice that your best mornings are not random. They are earned by what you do the night before. Waking up refreshed is not luck. It's the result of alignment. When you respect your circadian rhythm, you're not fighting biology, you're flowing with it. I once had a patient, a young man in his 30s, who worked long hours under fluorescent lights and trained intensely at the gym late at night. He couldn't understand why his progress had stalled. I asked him, "Do you rest?" He laughed and said, "Doctor, I'll rest when I retire." I told him, "If you don't rest now, you may not make it to retirement." We adjusted his schedule. No late night meals, early evening workouts, magnesium glycinate, and vitamin D3 before bed. Within weeks, his energy soared. his sleep deepened, and his muscle growth finally responded. The secret wasn't more effort. It was better rhythm. This is the paradox of healing. The harder you try to control it, the less it works. Healing thrives in surrender, in the gentle consistency of routine. Every night, your body asks for permission to rebuild. Give it the tools, the silence, and the darkness it needs, and it will do the rest with grace. Sleep is the most powerful therapy nature offers, freely given every single night. It's not indulgence, it's intelligence. When you sleep deeply, your immune system resets, your hormones balance, your muscles grow, and your mind clears. You become more resilient, more alive. Magnesium and vitamin D3 simply ensure that the body has what it needs to carry out the masterpiece it's designed for. So tonight, when you lay your head down, think of sleep not as the end of your day, but as the beginning of your healing. Let magnesium quiet your body and vitamin D3 guide your repair. Let stillness become your strength. Because it is in those quiet hours, when the world fades and the breath deepens, that your body does its most sacred work, turning exhaustion into energy, damage into renewal, and life into harmony. One of the most misunderstood aspects of healing and body transformation is timing. People often assume that health is built during activity, in the gym, at the dinner table, or through constant doing. But the truth is, healing happens in the stillness that follows. You don't grow while you eat. You grow while you rest. You don't rebuild muscles when you're training. You rebuild them when your insulin falls, when your body shifts from storage to repair. This understanding is the key to reclaiming your metabolism and your energy. Insulin is a beautiful hormone, often misunderstood and blamed for everything from weight gain to fatigue. But insulin itself is not the enemy. It is the messenger of abundance. When you eat, insulin tells your body, food is here, store it, use it, build with it. That's good when it happens occasionally. The problem arises when insulin never gets a chance to fall because eating never truly stops. In our modern culture, we live in a constant fed state. Breakfast, snacks, lunch, coffee with cream, dinner, dessert, late night nibbles. The body never receives the signal that the feast is over. And when insulin remains high, the healing hormones, growth hormone, testosterone, and others that rebuild muscle and burn fat cannot rise. It's like having two opposing shifts at a construction site. When the day crew of insulin is always working, the night crew of growth and repair can't clock in. So the building your body falls behind on maintenance. Muscles weaken, fat accumulates, inflammation grows, and you feel exhausted even when you think you're doing everything right. One of the simplest, most powerful adjustments you can make is to give your body time to rest from eating. I often recommend finishing dinner by 7 p.m. and not eating again until morning. This gentle window of fasting allows insulin to fall and growth hormone to rise. Growth hormone is the body's architect of renewal. It builds new muscle, repairs collagen, strengthens bones, and burns stored fat. But it only shows up when insulin steps aside. People sometimes fear fasting, thinking it means deprivation. But fasting is not starvation. It is restoration. It's the space between nourishment where the body finally catches up. When insulin is low, your body doesn't panic. It becomes efficient. It begins to burn fat for energy, recycle damaged cells, and rebuild tissue. This process, known as autophagy, is like your body's nightly cleaning crew. Old, dysfunctional cells are swept away to make room for new, healthy ones. I tell my patients, don't fear hunger. Listen to it. Hunger, in the right context, is not a threat. It's communication. It means your insulin has dropped, your growth hormone has risen, and your body is about to begin repair. When you eat late into the night, you interrupt this sacred cycle. It's like having janitors cleaning an office while everyone is still working. Papers get moved, floors remain dirty, and nothing truly gets done. Magnesium and vitamin D3, taken in the evening, enhance this process beautifully. Magnesium supports insulin sensitivity, helping your body transition smoothly into the fasting state. Vitamin D3 works at the genetic level to improve metabolic function and muscle regeneration. Together, they create the perfect environment for the night shift to begin. You don't have to force it, you just have to stop interfering. I remember one patient, a businessman in his 50s, who came to me frustrated. He was exercising daily, counting calories, and yet gaining weight. His energy was low, his sleep was broken, and his blood sugar was climbing. When I asked about his routine, he said, "Doctor, I eat healthy. I just have a small snack before bed to stop cravings." That small snack, I explained, was keeping his insulin high all night long, shutting down growth hormone. We changed just one thing. He stopped eating after dinner and took magnesium glycinate and vitamin D3 before bed. Within a few weeks, his energy improved. His waistline shrank, and he began sleeping deeply for the first time in years. Nothing else changed. Not his diet, not his workouts, only his timing. Your body is a rhythmic instrument. It plays best when you respect its tempo. Periods of nourishment followed by periods of stillness. When you finish eating early, you are not depriving yourself. You are allowing the music of healing to begin. Insulin, like all things, must rise and fall. It is the falling that brings restoration. So each night, think of your last meal as an act of closure. Let your digestive system rest, your hormones recalibrate, and your cells begin their quiet repair. As magnesium soothes your nerves and vitamin D3 directs the rebuilding, your body will enter the most intelligent state it knows: balance. Discipline around food timing is not punishment. It's respect. It's a conversation with your body that says, "I trust your wisdom. I will stop giving you tasks so you can start giving me healing." And in that stillness, the miracle of restoration unfolds effortlessly, quietly, and faithfully as it has since the beginning of time. Your muscles are among the most precious organs you have. They are not just there to move your body or shape your appearance. They are active, living tissues that speak directly to your metabolism, your brain, and your longevity. When people hear the word muscle, they think of the gym, of athletes, of strength. But when I speak of muscle, I speak of vitality. Strong muscles are strong medicine. They are your body's greatest reservoir of energy and resilience. As we age, many people lose muscle without realizing it. They tell me, "Doctor, I haven't changed my weight in years," but what they don't see is that the balance has shifted. Less muscle, more fat, even if the number on the scale is the same. Muscle is metabolically active. It burns energy even when you're sitting still. Fat does not. So when muscle declines, metabolism slows, insulin resistance rises, and the whole body becomes less efficient. It's not that people are getting older, it's that they are losing the very engine that kept them young. The good news is that muscle can be rebuilt at any age. The body is incredibly forgiving when you treat it with care and consistency. You do not need to lift heavy weights in a gym or follow complicated routines. The key is to challenge your muscles just enough to remind your body that they are still needed. You see, the body is wise but also economical. It will not maintain what you do not use. If you do not send a signal that your muscles are important, your body will quietly recycle them, saving energy in the short term but losing vitality in the long run. Even simple resistance exercises done consistently can awaken that signal. A few sets of squats, push-ups against a wall, or resistance bands used before sunset. These small actions speak loudly to your biology. They tell your brain, these muscles are essential. Keep them strong. Then when you rest and nourish yourself, magnesium and vitamin D3 step in to finish the job, guiding the repair and rebuilding that happens during sleep. I often tell patients that exercise doesn't build muscle. It requests muscle. The building happens afterward in recovery. Think of exercise as writing a letter to your body that says, "Please make me stronger." Magnesium and vitamin D3 are the pen and paper that allow your body to write back. Request, receive. One of my patients, a 68-year-old woman, came to me worried about fatigue and weakness. She said, "Doctor, I feel like my body is slipping away from me." I told her, "Your body is not slipping, it's waiting for you to send the signal." We started with 5 minutes of simple chair squats and light resistance bands every evening, followed by magnesium glycinate and vitamin D3 with dinner. Within months, she not only regained her strength, but also her confidence. Her sleep improved, her blood sugar stabilized, and she walked with a lightness she hadn't felt in years. She said, "Doctor, I didn't think something so small could make such a difference." And I told her, that's the secret. Consistency, not intensity. Your muscles are like faithful servants. They respond to attention, to care, to effort, but they also need rest and the right nutrients to rebuild. Magnesium allows them to relax after contraction, preventing cramps and stiffness. Vitamin D3 enhances calcium balance and protein synthesis, ensuring that every night the work you've done during the day transforms into real progress. Movement is more than exercise, it's a language. When you move your body, you remind it that you are alive, that life is still flowing. When you stop moving, your body begins to interpret that stillness as surrender. The modern world encourages us to sit, to remain static, to separate the mind from the body. But you cannot think your way to vitality. You must move your way there. Think of your muscles as a savings account for your health. Every bit of movement is a deposit, and every night of rest and nourishment is the interest that grows over time. Neglect it, and the balance slowly declines. Invest in it, and you build resilience that protects you for decades. The stronger your muscles, the steadier your blood sugar, the clearer your mind, the healthier your heart. I often remind my patients that strength training is not about vanity. It's about freedom. The ability to lift your own body, to walk without pain, to get up from the floor without help. These are the true measures of youth. Magnesium and vitamin D3 make sure your body has the biochemical tools to preserve that freedom. So, move each day, not to burn calories, but to awaken life. Let each movement be a prayer of gratitude for the body that carries you. Then, as the evening falls, let magnesium and vitamin D3 turn that movement into restoration. Because the body you build through mindful effort and peaceful recovery is the same body that will carry you gracefully through the rest of your life. True healing is not a single event. It is a rhythm, a partnership between you and your body that unfolds every day and every night. We are often focused on what to do today, what to eat, what supplement to take, what workout to complete, but lasting health is built on what we do consistently, not occasionally. This is where the quiet power of daily habits comes in. Those gentle, almost invisible choices that seem small in the moment, but create immense transformation over time. When I see patients who have rebuilt their health, I always notice something. They are not perfect, but they are faithful. They do not chase fads or sudden extremes. They honor their routine, their rest, and their boundaries. Health, you see, is not earned in bursts of motivation. It is cultivated in moments of understanding. And the most powerful habits are those that align with the body's natural design. At night, when the world slows down, your body enters